Hi everyone, my name is Stefan, I'm a pulmonologist. In this video I'd like to discuss it's a bit of a follow-up basically to my previous Turbuhaler Symbicort video in which I was demonstrating how to use it correctly. And it's really important to use it correctly, but I think a lot of people, based on the comments that I received, I think they stress way too much about taking this medication. And I need to remind you that it is an inhaler medication that's usually used as a controller. So that means that it's effective over a long period of time. So the most important thing with these inhalers is to take them as correctly as you can every time, of course, but to understand that their effect is seen over a long span of time. So basically it's something that you need to stick with and take regularly over months, years, and that's when you see the effect. If on the off chance you take, for example, an incorrect dose once, either you take maybe half a dose or you take 2 doses because of the way you've armed the device, that's still okay. It's probably not going to make a huge difference. The amount of medication contained in inhalers is usually so small that it shouldn't affect you very much, even if you take, for example, double the dose at one stage. So one question that I got here from Tan Chia Lee, basically they're saying that 1 click is 1 dose. What if I never inhale the medicine? Will it be gone? And then if you do a second click, another dose, would that be an overdose? Would that be 2 doses? And would that be an overdose? I don't think it's the issue of an overdose. So like I explained, the worst you can probably do if you arm it incorrectly is to take 2 doses instead of 1. So how might that happen? Let's have a look. So for example, if you look at this, you need to basically twist and do all these things, right? So with the inhaler, basically what happens is that you twist in one direction and twist back and it clicks. So that's armed, that's the right way of doing it. But for example, you've done that and you forgot you've done it, and then you twist it again and it makes a strange sound and you're like, oh my God, I've messed up the inhaler. It's not an issue. So just twist it back, make it click, and then use it. And it will probably just give you a little bit of an extra dose of medication, but I wouldn't be too worried that you're taking way too much. Because, like I said, the amount of medication in the inhaler is small. Just try to pay attention and do it right the next time. Another question that came regarding Symbicort is the fact that the medication is tasteless. And I think that's an issue for many people. You cannot really tell sometimes that you've taken the medication because the powder inside it is so fine and it doesn't taste like anything. So you're basically just inhaling it and not feeling like you've taken the dose. But you just have to trust that the medication is going in the right place. Unfortunately, there's no way around it. Another question that I received from David Craig, basically he's saying that, hi, my Symbicort Turbuhaler has reached the red zone and 0 number. But when I shake it, it seems like there is a considerable amount of product within the Turbuhaler. So something like this, you can still hear the shaking. Can I keep using it while it rattles? So when I shake it, I would advise against it because that's basically the dose counter that's showing you the guaranteed amount of doses that are left. It may not be able to remove all that little powder from it and measure it accurately. So I would say that if the inhaler has reached 0, I would get a replacement. I got another comment from Sulsal Productions. So they are advising me to clean the mouthpiece before closing. I think that's actually a good piece of advice. So basically, once you've inhaled it, you've put your lips to the inhaler, I think it's a good idea if you have maybe a little bit of an alcohol wipe or something to just give it a wipe to keep it clean and ready for the next use. I think that's a really good idea, actually. It's a very good point. Another comment that I received from Derek Jared, they say that the mouthpiece twists. What is the value in this? It twists with ease, i.e. when removing the lid, but the instructions say don't twist it. So basically, let me show you what I think Derek meant by this. So the mouthpiece is this bit here. So this bit at the top. I'm not sure if you can see it clearly on the camera, but basically this twists. So I'm not sure if you can see, but I can twist it around. So they say not to twist it, like, obviously that's not the right thing to do, but I mean, I would say just try to leave it alone if you can, because I'm not sure if it will actually damage the inhaler or not. Probably not. But if it happens, it's just what it is. I wouldn't worry too much about it. I think this is just the way the device has been designed. But it's not something that would worry me. And I don't think that if you've twisted it a bit, you've broken the inhaler. I think it's still fine. Another question that I received from Demeb Upa. So they say, hi doctor, thank you for your videos. Just a question, how long a patient has to stay on Symbicort? 2 weeks, 1 month, the rest of his life in general? Thank you for your reply. I meant in general, as I don't have an access to a specialist here. So thank you for your question. Very good question, Demet. And I have a feeling that you might have to see a doctor in this case, because generally this medication is a long-term treatment. So it's something that doctors generally don't prescribe as a one-off treatment. So one device will probably last you for a month or two, depending on how many doses there are in it and how often you need to take it, depending on your condition. But generally you would get a replacement every month, and you would take that medication for maybe a few months at least until your condition stabilizes. So for example, if you're suffering with asthma, you may be taking Symbicort at the set dose for say 3 months, and then your doctor does another check, they see you, they evaluate the situation, and they maybe increase the dose, take you off the Symbicort, put you on something else. But it's generally a medication given for long-term conditions. Another great question that I received from Ree's vlog. So basically they say, after a few puffs, the counter still stuck at 120. Is this normal? So the counter is this bit here. Basically, I'm not sure if you can see it. I'm going to try and zoom on it, but I don't think it zooms where it's supposed to. But anyway, so there's a dose counter there. Now, if you've seen it here, so basically it says 40, there's a line, and then 60. So what this means is basically this dose counter is not as precise as one would hope. So if it starts with 120, it will go to 100, 80, 60, 40, 20, etc. So it's not as precise, so it slowly goes down. So this is not something that should worry you. If you're taking it correctly, it should go down over time, so don't worry about that one. There's another question here about the twisting of the top. So this is from Atefe June. I think I'm pronouncing this correctly. So hi, while cleaning Turbuhaler mouthpiece, I think I turned it a bit and I used it, and I didn't have the usual feeling. How do I know it's working now? Is if the mouthpiece turns a bit, it gets blocked? Thanks. So yeah, like I said, if you twist this, I don't think it's such a big issue. I think it just twists a bit, but you just continue using it. If you're having any doubts if your inhaler is working properly, what I would recommend, and what I replied to the comment as well, is to maybe walk into a pharmacy and just talk to the pharmacist and kindly ask them, do you think my Turbuhaler is still working properly? I've done this. And they'll probably reassure you that it's working just fine. Another comment also related to the way we arm the device. So this is Kevin Avrilian. Thank you for your video. I was wondering though, what if I opened the next dose but decided not to take it? Could I take the dose later? So theoretically you could. I mean, I would probably just arm it again when you're ready to take it, because you're not likely to overdose on the medication. But like I said, if you've twisted it and twisted it back and it goes click, I would say if you're going to take it later, maybe just leave the inhaler in its vertical position if you're going to do that, but try to remember what you've done and that you've armed it, and leave it maybe on a table, right? Somewhere sitting in this position, and then open it and take it. But I would say if you're going to postpone it for a few hours, I would probably recommend just twisting, turning it, activating it again, and taking the dose in that fashion. Again, another question from Wodan. Thank you very much. Question is there a way to falsely arm it? And what would happen if you accidentally did the arming thing twice? So basically what I said, it would probably mean that you're taking a little bit more of the medication that you were supposed to at that time, but likely in the long run, it will probably not influence your treatment. So final question before I finish this video. So this is very important actually. So Prashant P is asking, can you stop taking it once your asthma is under control and you are feeling better, like 3 to 5 days? I have a feeling that this is a very, very important thing to mention, because I would say it's probably not a good idea to stop any medication without your doctor's advice. Even though you're feeling well, it just means that the medication is working, it's keeping your asthma under control. So I would say that if you stop it, you run the risk of your asthma flaring up again. And I think that's really what you're trying to prevent by taking the medication. So if you're feeling well on the medication, I would say just continue taking it. And if you want to make adjustments, your doctor might actually suggest that. So what normally happens in the treatment of asthma is basically you're taking the same dose of inhaler, you're taking it regularly every day, let's say twice a day, and your asthma gets really well controlled. And at that point, basically, you talk to your doctor again, and they might recommend going to a lower strength inhaler, or maybe taking it less frequently, in order to see if your asthma stays controlled at that level as well. And then basically, we play around with the medication, let's say every 3 to 4 months, or maybe less often, depending on how often you see your doctor. But basically, we just try to gauge what the dose is appropriate for a good asthma control at that level. And that's really how we treat asthma. We try to keep the minimum amount of medication that controls your symptoms well, because that's really the goal, to feel absolutely fine. Hopefully this video was helpful. If you have any other questions, do leave them in the comment section below. And if you like this sort of content, do subscribe to the channel. I'm really at the beginning of this channel, so I would really appreciate your support in making it grow. So thank you very much, and all the best to you.